Hi everyone, you're watching the virtual amicus and I'm Jay Lodha. Well, what's the difference between a public trust and a private trust? Are charitable trusts the same as religious trusts? So what are these trusts that are formed with an objective of providing relief to poor, education, medical relief, public utility, religious purposes, and etc.? So how do you classify the income of these trusts? Do they fall under voluntary contribution? Do they fall under capital gains? How does the department calculate? And if at all there is an exemption, then under what sections is it provided? So today we decided to seek assistance from a very able, competent lawyer who's practicing before Honorable Rajasthan High Court. Mr. Prateek Kedawat is with us today. Thank you so much, Mr. Kedawat, for your time and on a working day. So Mr. Kedawat, apart from LLB, he's also a qualified company secretary. He practices majorly before Honorable Rajasthan High Court with appearances before Honorable Delhi High Court, Bombay High Court, and he specializes in writ, civil, property matters, financial matters, taxation, service, contractual, arbitration, company, cooperative, election, excise, sales tax, and criminal matters. He also appears frequently and regularly before the NCLT and NCLAT. So thank you so much, Mr. Kedawat, once again. And the stage is set. The floor is all yours. Over to you. You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Jed. Thank you for inviting me for on your channel. That is actually doing very good work of sharing the knowledge and bringing knowledge to the accessible platform to everyone. So the topic that we have chosen for today is related to the charitable trust. What we have seen in taxation aspect that during the period of COVID, that we have seen that many people are philanthropic and they want to make the contribution to the society. And although you are making a contribution to society, what happens to is that we earn from society, and we have a duty towards society that we give it back sometime. So now what you produce from a nation, you have to contribute back towards it as an aspect, as a tax. However, this is a democratic medium wherein a charitable trust, wherein you can have particular purposes, wherein you think that your money can go and you can do the charity work towards the various forums, various issues that you have to make contribution. So to make a specific contribution towards a purpose, you can form a charitable trust or make a contribution to a charitable trust wherein various activities can be taken place. Uh, However, we know that despite India being a philanthropic people having a philanthropic mindset, there are always certain black sheeps in the garb of many things. The people try to violate certain conditions and provisions. So the tax statute had always provided certain kind of exemptions to the charitable trust, but there had been various kind of since there had been various laws, various kind of registrations under the charitable trust, so many people used to evade taxation as well, using those kind of loopholes and tried to evade the taxes. So recently what has done that earlier there were various kind of registrations under 12A, section 12A of income tax act, section 12AA of income tax act, section 35 AC 80G. So now there has been come an umbrella section, that is section 12AB. So now what the central government has done, that there had been certain registered trusts and there had been certain unregistered trusts. So there was a lot of data management was not clear at the end of government. So government provided this umbrella section and brought all these sections into under one section 12AB. So when the section 12AB had been introduced, so it requires that now the things have become more transparent. And for the transparency, you need to get yourself uh, re-registered with the income tax department for seeking exemption for the charitable trust. So the government has introduced Form 10A, in which all the information now you again have to get yourself registered with the income tax act, income tax authority for seeking the exemptions of income tax. Now time and again the questions have come before us that what format of trust you can form. Like there had been a trust, there had been a society, and there had been a section 8. So you one need to identify the particular purpose for which a particular trust has been made. Like if you have a trust that you want to have a one man show, then you can use the trust format. And however, if you have a more democratic situation wherein you can bring various other people of the society as well together to contribute to the cost, you can form a society. However, what you can also have if you have a corporate style, because nowadays what is happening that most of the people are taking the MBA route, and the corporate culture is regularly getting evolved. The cities are converting into the cosmopolitan cities. So they're also provided in the companies that is a Section 8 company that you can form, and you can do the charitable work there also. No, there are the purposes of the trust that are there. Like what kind of purpose, whether you have specifically you have a religious purpose, you have a charitable purpose, or you have an education related purpose. So you also need to identify what exactly purpose you are trying to serve. But at times it has happened that when we serve the purpose, so at times there is a thin line between the purposes that happens. Like if you have a trust that provides clothes to the needy and poor people in at the time of winter, and imagine that you want to do good, and you have kept yourself into a bracket wherein you say that you will be providing free of free of cost the clothes to the needy and poor in the season of winter. So there had been a contribution made by you, made by the people in the trust. So that becomes the income of the trust, and at the time that the trust gives the people at the time of winter, trust gives the clothes to people in the season of winter. That particular time the income gets exempted. However, consider a scenario wherein when you are have extra clothes, and imagine you get since you many people come to know they give you the summer clothes as well, or give you the funds to give people in the clothes in the season of summer as well. So, however, your object of the trust was that you will give the clothes at the time of summer only, at the time of winter only. So now this time when you receive the contribution and do contribution to the society in the month in the season of summers, the clothes in the season of summers, will the income tax department be making an addition? Yes, the income tax will be department would be addition, because the object that you have curtailed, what you have codified had been quite close. But what is suggested for you is that whenever you choose an object of a trust, that it has to be a very wide angle. Like you need not to see that you will make the make clothes in the summer season of winter only. You can say that you would be giving the clothes and other things, necessary items, to the poor and needy sections of the society. Now, at times it happens that the exemptions relating to the religious trust has also been comes under the GAP. However, there are certain religious societies that who do the contribution to the public at large. So, so what you can do is there had been, if it is not restricted to all the people. So earlier it was that if the contribution that a charitable trust had received is not more than 5% had been used for the purpose of religion, then the entire income would become exempted. And same is in the case of the society that we say that there are many kind of caste related society, that if we see that if we see like there are many kind of institution that have been made by particular caste. However, if it is restricted to that particular caste, then the exemptions does not get away. However, if that particular caste keeps that their institution that they have created with the amount that I have received in that particular year for people at large, although they may be doing some favorism toward their particular caste, but it has been kept open for all the people and general public, so that kind of income also gets exempted for the particular trust. Now, the change that has come at present form is that when we fill form 10A, the purpose is that it would be giving every trust a unique registration number now. So when a person will be applying on the portal of income tax department, and to eliminate and to bring eliminate confusion and to bring transparency, a URN will be generated that, as we can see, our Aadhaar card gets generated. So it gives a unique identity. Same as the case, a trust will get a unique registration number by which the income tax authorities will now be tracking down that particular trust. It is also very much pertinent to remember that when we fill the form for the registration or renewable renew renovation of the trust, we need to remember that the particular form asks for the codes. So those codes, we have to be very much diligent while filing the particular codes while getting ourselves re-registered. Otherwise, there would be a if the codes are not properly filled, the department will your case might come under the scrutiny. You have to be also clear about that what kind of activities that you would be doing, and you need to clarify the constitution of your trust. The constitution of trust that we have already discussed, that whether the trust has to be in the format of a trust, a society, or a company, that is section 8 company. So we may also remember that when we are going to renewal of a trust, we will see that that particular form would be asking us that whether our trust had been registered earlier. So you have to give the details of that particular authority before which our trust had been registered earlier. So now this is, since it is the re-registration, so we have to give the history of our trust as well, and the date of incorporation of our trust would be populated of the date which had been in the instrument in which our trust was earlier registered. We would also be very much clear about that authority who had granted us registration earlier, because that has to be specifically mentioned in the form as well. Now what has department was done, that earlier all the things were used to be done in the paper format, wherein you can write down everything and things will get registered. Now the objects, what they have done is that in the form there you have to make the selections of the objects. As we had already discussed about that, if we keep a micro kind of objects, we will be facing problems in a future form when our trust grows. So we need to be very much careful that the objects that had been given in that particular form can be filled more than one. Like it may provide that whether your society or whether your trust or whether your company is having the object of education only, or whether it is of religious purpose only, or it is for the benefit of public at large. So you can select more than one options at present, so that facility has been provided. So try to make the objects as wider as possible. We may also since it is this This form requires the renewable also. So we must keep in mind that whatever had been the memorandum of your our registration, that should match. If it will not match, then there are chances that the scrutiny might get open in your trust. It is also a question that we need to be clear about our trust, that whether our trust, that form is in the format of revocability or irrevocable trust that we are forming. So we need to be clear on that aspect as well, that when we are uh, filing a form for renewable, that what kind of trust we are having, the assets would be irrevocable or they are revocable. It is also to be noted that the department now requires the entire information. So it is asking that whether your trust had been registered in other forums as well. So you need to be clear that you when you are filing your form, you should keep in mind that whether there had been registration had been earlier in other act or other state or in any other form, that has also to be mentioned. Otherwise, the contravention uh, can attract the penal provisions. So it has also been to be clear that you have to mention about the history of your trust as well. Like earlier, there had been certain trust that got rejected when the 12A format was there. So if your trust had been faced a rejection for registration under section 12A, so you need to also mention that particular aspect, that whenever your whether your trust had faced any kind of rejection earlier. If it has to be there, then it has to be clearly mentioned. Otherwise, same there we may feel we may get the penalized uh, later on. The form also requires that there has to be the details of key person requires to be mentioned in all the forms now. So key person, now you need to remember that in each format. Like if you are having the company format of your trust, charitable trust, then you need to mention them there as directors. Whether if it is your trust, then you have to mention as the trustees. So these are some of the very important and robust changes that have come, that is bringing more impartiality towards the trust, because in the COVID times you can see that people are making contribution. There had been the companies have been allowed their CSR funds that the big companies are using to get the fund, the oxygen concentrators, and these kind of things. So what happens that if you make a contribution, you make it in a bona fide manner. But if you make it to a trust that is not uh, following the proper procedures, so even your contribution will go to a uh, might not go to a wrong hand. So that impartiality, that transparency will be hope is it is hope that with this amendment, this transparency will be more at your end. So thank you everybody. This is what my this was the knowledge that I wanted to share in present times, and I hope that it would help you. Uh,
Thank you so much, Mr. Kedawat, for taking out time from your busy schedule. Well, on a lighter note, there is a proverb that I wish to share on income tax, that when there is an income tax, then a just man will pay more and the unjust man will pay less on the same amount of income. That was by the famous Rolf Waldo Emerson. So thank you so much,
yes,
Mr.
definitely.
Kedawat. That was a really nice, lucid presentation, and I hope our viewers will immensely benefit from it. Still, in case if you have any queries or any doubts on any of the concepts that Mr. Prateek deliberated upon, you can very well write to us, and we'll be more than happy to share the same with Mr. Kedawat, our amicus for today's session, and he'll be happy to answer back to all your queries. And you can very well write to him directly as well, whatever is convenient for you. So thank you so much, Mr. Kedawat, once again, and thank you so much, everybody, for listening so patiently and for the patient hearing. And stay tuned. Next episode is on its way. Please stay home. Please stay indoors. Please take good care of yourselves. Thank you so much, Mr. Kedawat, and uh, see you all super soon. Next episode is on its way. So that's goodbye for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Jay. Thank you.